Foggy morning over the Golden Gate, but the sun is now starting to break through. And that means that this is ideal for a crystal clear 49ers update. John Lynch just spoke on KMBR and told us that Brock Purdy is getting incrementally more work at every single week of practice, and that includes this one. Remember that Kyle Shanahan yesterday said that they hope to give Brock Purdy some more first team reps this week. So we'll see toward the end of the week on Brock. Remember that the 49ers are playing the Rams this week. Mac Jones was the QB when San Francisco won that shocking game in week 5. And well, after I get through all this trade deadline stuff, maybe I'll revisit this graphic. Take a look at Mac Jones this year, how few yards he's left on the table, how few opportunities he's missed on the table. The key for this game is going to be all about taking the profit if you are the 49ers. Short passes, okay. Jimmy Garoppolo did that to beat the Rams. That was the game plan. When you've got a defense that is the number 1 in the league, that can create such havoc on deep drop back situations with its defensive line, with its ability to create takeaways, you've got to take the profit, take the short throws, hog the ball, shield the defense. If you're San Francisco, that is obviously struggling for obvious reasons because they've lost so many key players. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, of course, Michael Williams, and the 49ers did replenish a little bit ahead of the trade deadline. Keon White added in a trade with New England. Clelin Ferrell re-signed to the 49ers and rejoining the team. He had a thunderous sack and told Jackson Dart that he better enjoy the cold tub. But the 49ers obviously didn't make anything exactly ahead of the deadline. And that's been the lead of the San Francisco discussion. Well, you go to what John Lynch said today on KMBR. Compare it with what I said up on the San Francisco Standard. This is the good stuff. John Lynch said, quote, "We weren't going to get fleeced. We weren't going to overpay. It's just not good business. Sometimes the best deals you do are the ones you don't do." Okay, now read what I wrote yesterday. I was talking about the Bryce Huff trade, which was undoubtedly a good trade for the 49ers, a fair price that clicked into place far ahead of the deadline. It's no surprise that the 49ers were willing to pay a similar amount of draft capital for Jermaine Johnson on Tuesday, but the Jets, wanting that second-round pick, did not oblige. Sometimes the best deals are the ones you don't make. I think that John Lynch might read the San Francisco Standard. Very, very good stuff. He said all the logical things today about the 49ers approach at that trade deadline. Maybe my favorite quote is this one, that there are no difference makers available at realistic prices. John said, quote, "When a player is a complete difference maker like Christian McCaffrey, you might keep going. But at some point, you have to have discipline, and we didn't. You're not going to make an overpayment." Exactly. I mean, the 49ers are dealing with so many competing interests, as we've outlined. But one, with any draft pick, you get 4 years, at least 4 years, of cost-controlled contract security as a football team. And the 49ers have paid more than anyone else in contracts ever since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan came aboard. So when that's the case, you need to fill in the rest of your roster beyond the A-list players, beyond those guys making all the money, with cost-controlled talent. That's how it works in a salary-capped league. So if you're going to trade away draft picks, you're trading away that cost control. Somebody like Jermaine Johnson, and I wrote about this in great depth up on the San Francisco Standard, Jermaine Johnson would have cost the 49ers a second-round pick. That's what the Jets were asking for. He only was going to be under contract through next year. So he would have helped the 49ers in 2026, theoretically, but the 49ers would have gotten only 1.5 years of Johnson under contract, and they would have given up a second-round pick with 4 years of cost control for that. They would have been willing to do it for a 4, not for a 2. And John Lynch talks so much about good business and bad business today. We talk about business 101. John Lynch essentially given his business 101 course when talking on KMBR. We weren't going to get fleeced. And, you know, another, maybe this might be even better in terms of quotes, because this is another echo of what we've been saying Lynch said, "We've been working on trades for a long time. The deadline is just an endpoint. We're top 4 in terms of teams adding players through trade this year." And he listed the 4. Bryce Huff, who's going to be back this week for the 49ers. It's a huge return against the Rams. Obviously, Keon White, Sky Moore, Brian Robinson Jr. coming off his best game as a 49er. So the deadline is just some point in time, and this emotional need to make a move before the clock runs out, that's something that fans and I guess overly emotional media get behind. But the 49ers have to act as a rational organization. Could there have been frustration in the 49ers building that they couldn't execute a 5th trade right before the deadline after they had completed 4 over the course of the 2025 trade season? Of course there could have been frustration. You look at something that you want and then you see that the price is too high, you're going to be frustrated. I mean, that comes from the bucket of obvious today. And, people trying to make things more dramatic than they actually are. I guess that's the essence of some sports media that struggles to get clicks these days, struggles to get views these days. But thankfully, we don't have that problem because we're standing on top of a rooftop in San Francisco looking at downtown. Oh, look, another cable car. Looking at the fog. It's a beautiful sight today to see the clouds and the sun making downtown San Francisco a silhouette. All right, going through some more stuff. The Rams, so good on defense. The 49ers, in that game against the Rams, Mac Jones had an average depth of target back in week 5 of, I think, only about 5 yards. I mean, Mac was not throwing the ball far downfield for San Francisco in that week 5 game. And the 49ers played so disciplined over the course of especially the first 3 drives or so. Kendrick Bourne finally dropped a pass that allowed the Rams to get back in the game. But let's not forget that Kendrick was absolutely awesome for San Francisco outside of that one play. Was a possession receiver plus yak in that game. That first catch that he made, it was a short pass on the first drive, and then he sprinted upfield. I think it was a 39-yard gain. 49ers are going to need yak in this game. They've always needed yak to beat good Rams teams. If you look at Stafford's numbers and then you look at the fact that the Rams are the number 1 defense in the league, this team statistically is resembling the 2021 Rams, who won the Super Bowl and beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. But guess who beat the Rams twice in 2021 over the course of the regular season? A 49ers team that has a similar statistical profile as this one offensively and defensively. That 49ers defense was in the 20s. This one's number 26 ever since Nick Bosa went down in week 3, which is why they wanted to add even more at the trade deadline. They just couldn't find a deal that worked. The difference being that the special teams, I mean, this is something that I have to hit home very, very hard. The 49ers special teams this year is number 2 now, after Eddie Pinheiro took over for Jake Moody in week 2. And the Rams are number 21 in special teams. The Rams are having big special teams issues. One could argue that the Rams, who are 6-2, would be 8-0 if they had a better kicking situation. The Rams even signed the thicker kicker this week. I'm not kidding. Harrison Mevis, 6 feet, 242 pounds, 20 of 21 on field goals with the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL. So they're doing their best to try to turn around the ship of special teams, that third phase of the game that's threatening to sink a really good offense and a really good defense. That's familiar territory for the 49ers, but for some reason this year, and I think one of the main reasons is Eddie Pinheiro, and of course you got to give credit to the special teams coordinator, Brant Boyer. It is special teams leading the way for the 49ers. I find it funny that they've added nearly 30 points in expected value on special teams since they cut Jake Moody in week 1. It has been truly an awesome turnaround for that phase of the game, and it gives the 49ers a chance at an upset. I mean, it's as simple as it is in this game. They're, 4-point underdogs at this point? They already upset the Rams once. A lot of that came through special teams. I will bring you this thought about this game, since we just heard from John Lynch on the trade deadline and on Brock Purdy, and we're going to have more clarity on Purdy and all that later. Let's go to the other side, the quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford will throw you the football. inferior defense. He will. He did in week 5. He did last year when the Rams beat the 49ers 12-6. Matthew Stafford will put the ball in harm's way. The question then is, will the defense catch it? If the 49ers can catch Matthew Stafford's interceptable passes, they have a chance to upset the Rams again. Then they have a chance to move forward at 7-3 if that happens. So Levi should be rocking this weekend. Plenty more updates for you. I'm going to be headed to the team facility a little bit later today. This is what it looks like here right now in San Francisco. One more fog check. Yeah, that fog is still in over the Golden Gate. Don't even have to walk all the way to that side of the building. You can see the fog, the iconic San Francisco fog this morning. We'll talk to you all soon.
Well, first of all, I'd say, it's a real shame. Michael, just an awesome kid, and has been playing good football. The stat sheet hasn't been probably as prolific as people would like, but been playing really good football. He graded really high each and every week and was, I think, really close to start delivering the type of football that everybody, probably fans, expected. But our eyes were seeing a really good football player who was developing. He's a great kid. That was really just sad. It kind of made a great weekend that I was explaining a little bit somber, and the whole team felt that. And he's such a great kid, wise beyond his years, and people really have an affinity for him around here. So to do it like at the end of a game, 3 minutes left, that was tough, and the locker room felt that. So our thoughts and just really go out to Michael, and he's going to be fine. Clean ACL tear, and that's no minor thing, but he's going to be all right. He's going to attack his rehab. I think it's awesome. It's not awesome that Nick Bosa did it, but Nick Bosa is going to be there to help guide him through. I've already seen the two of them down there, and so if you're going to go through something like that, to have some people, and Fred will be down there as well, and to have some people to help you kind of through that for a young man is going to be awesome. He'll be back, and he'll be fine. And as for the trade thing, look, the one thing I'll say is, we've been working on that for a long time. The deadline's just an endpoint. We've been making trades. We're top 4 in the league in terms of trades made this year. With Bryce Huff, Brian Robinson, Sky Moore, Keon White. We've done a lot to try to improve our team, and we did right down to the very end. We've always said we're going to stay true to our process of putting a value on players. And when the player's a complete difference maker like a Christian McCaffrey, you might keep going. But at some point, you have to have a discipline, and that's what we did. We weren't going to make an overpayment, and I think we like our group. We're fortunate. Looks like we're going to get Bryce Huff back if he continues to get through this week of practice. We add Keon, and he'll contribute to continue to add in his contributions to our group. They're a well-coached group, and that's what we have. We've got a lot of belief in that group, and we move forward.